All right, let's jump into another deep dive. You've given us some pretty interesting stuff to work with today.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Peters talking about how we need to reimagine business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Terry Shodine and his take on how to give like these killer sales presentations.
Yeah, sounds like you're ready to really shake things up.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
We're talking about, we've got 2 audio tracks here from
Hmm.
Better Life Media.
Okay.
One is Reimagine, Business Excellence in a Disruptive Age.
Bye.
That's by the one and only Tom Peters, of course.
Of course.
And the other one, New Sales Speak. That's from the sales guru, Terry Shodine.
Love it.
So they both kind of agree
What's that?
that business as usual, it's not going to cut it anymore.
Right. It
Mhm.
seems like they're both saying that the world is changing faster than ever.
Yeah.
And we all really need to adapt or risk becoming, well, irrelevant.
Yeah, and I think we can all relate to that feeling of being a little bit overwhelmed, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Globalization and technology are changing so fast.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the job market is always kind of in flux, up and down.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with.
It's a lot to keep up with, yeah. But Peters has this great quote.
Oh, yeah.
He says, if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance even less.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's a pretty powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a warning, but it's also, I think, kind of empowering in a way, right?
Right.
It's like, take control of your own destiny.
Yeah.
Become the architect of your own future. Yeah.
I love that. Architect of your own future.
That's good, yeah.
That's a good one. And that kind of leads us to the next point, which both speakers really emphasize.
Okay.
And that's action.
Mm-hmm.
Peters is all about taking action.
Like, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. He even says, we have a strategic plan. It's called doing things.
I love that, getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
That really resonates with Shodine's approach to presentations, too,
Yeah. How so?
He's not into just throwing a bunch of information at people. Mm-hmm.
It's about being persuasive and making presentations that actually get people to do something,
Okay.
that get results,
Results. So, speaking of action, have you heard this banana story from Peters?
The banana story.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Lay it on me.
It's about how even the simplest things can be done in a much better way.
Okay.
Did you know, there's a right way to open a banana?
I mean, I know there's a way that's easier to not get the strings, but...
Yeah. You got to peel it from the bottom.
Oh, really?
Like monkeys do. It's so much more efficient.
Interesting. I always thought I had that figured out.
I know, right?
But there you go.
And that's kind of the mentality that both Peters and Shodine are talking about. It's like this fail fast, learn fast kind of approach, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Don't get stuck in your old ways.
Yeah.
Always be open to trying new things.
Absolutely. And they both really encourage you to think outside the box, not just when it comes to business, but even in how you present yourself and your ideas.
Peters, he talks about the importance of surrounding yourself with, what he calls weird people.
Weird people.
Weird people and ideas to really spark that innovation.
Okay, I see what it's getting at.
And Shodine, well, he really stresses the need to create presentations that stand out from the crowd.
Right?
So do you remember his story about connecting with a difficult client through their shared passion for bass fishing?
Oh, I love that story. It just shows how weird can actually work.
Yeah. He could have just given a boring standard presentation.
Right.
But instead, he took the time to really understand his client
Yeah.
and found this unique way to connect with him.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that sometimes building a genuine connection can be more effective than anything else.
Right. And speaking of tapping into untapped potential, both speakers talk about these 2 really important demographics that are often overlooked. Women and baby boomers.
Oh, interesting.
Peters even calls it a truth bomb. Are businesses really missing out on these groups as much as he claims?
Well, when you think about the purchasing power of women, it's pretty astounding.
Yeah.
Statistics show that women are driving purchasing decisions in almost every category.
That's true, yeah.
And yet a lot of businesses still seem to be stuck in these outdated marketing strategies,
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
It really is.
And what about the baby boomers, right?
Uh-huh.
They have so much experience, they're loyal, and they have considerable spending power.
Right.
But they often get ignored in favor of chasing after the latest trends.
It seems like a big missed opportunity.
Right.
It makes me think that Peters and Shodine are really pushing us to go beyond those traditional business models and embrace a more human-centered approach.
Yeah, it's not just about selling products or services anymore.
No.
It's about creating experiences, building communities,
Mm-hmm.
and fostering those genuine connections.
Absolutely. And that's where the real potential lies.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is how we lead.
How?
They both talk about moving away from that old command and control style of leadership.
Right. The top-down approach.
Yeah, towards something more collaborative,
More empowering, yeah.
more empowering, yeah. Peters, he has this great analogy about viewing your team as the Oakland Raiders of housekeeping.
Oakland Raiders of housekeeping.
That's interesting.
What do you think he means by that?
Well, I think he's trying to say that even in the most, seemingly ordinary roles, there's potential for greatness.
Right.
It's about recognizing and nurturing talent wherever you find it.
I love that.
And giving everyone a sense of ownership,
Yeah, and Shodin, well, he stresses the power of storytelling in presentations.
Oh, for sure.
He says that just having dry facts,
It won't cut it.
it's not enough. You got to capture your audience's attention.
Make them feel something.
Yeah. Make them feel something. Turn that information into a story.
Absolutely. A compelling narrative.
A narrative, yeah.
That inspires action.
That inspires action. I like that.
That's the key. So it seems like they're both pushing us to be a little bit more human,
More empathetic, yeah.
more empathetic in our interactions with everyone.
Whether it's clients, colleagues, even competitors.
Yeah, yeah. And there's this interesting paradox here, right?
What's that?
As technology gets more advanced
Mm-hmm.
and automation takes over all these routine tasks,
Yeah.
those uniquely human skills like creativity
Communication.
become even more valuable.
Right. It's like we have to step up our game as humans.
Yeah, the machines might be getting smarter, but we
Yeah.
still have the power to dream
Connect.
and make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. And speaking of making a difference, both Peters and Shodin point to this shift in power toward two markets that are often overlooked,
Oh, yeah.
women and baby boomers.
They're really emphasizing that, huh?
Peters, he calls women the most underreported business story in the nation.
Wow.
He says women are starting businesses at an incredible rate and generating trillions of dollars in revenue.
And yet, they're often ignored by companies.
Stuck in their old ways.
Stuck in their old ways, yeah.
Same with the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Lots of experience, tons of spending power.
Yeah.
But many companies aren't really paying attention.
It's a real wake-up call.
It is. Adapt or become irrelevant.
So what does all this mean for our listener?
That's a great question. I think we need to dive deeper into these ideas and see what other gems we can uncover.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
One of the things that really jumped out at me was Peter's idea of weird wins.
Yeah.
It seems like he's saying that, real innovation often comes from unexpected places, right?
Yeah, he's basically saying don't be afraid to embrace the weird,
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with those people and ideas that challenge conventional thinking.
Yeah, and he's not a fan of benchmarking, where companies just try to imitate the industry leaders.
Yeah, he thinks it's a recipe for mediocrity, right?
Total recipe for mediocrity. He actually says it stifles creativity.
Right.
And it leads to everyone chasing the same tired ideas.
Right. So he wants us to break free from the pack, forge our own path, come up with something truly unique.
Yeah, and that connects back to Shodin's ideas about presentations, too,
Oh, yeah?
He also talks about the importance of standing out from the crowd,
Mm.
capturing your audience's attention,
Okay.
making them remember you.
Right, right.
He even talks about using humor even when it feels risky.
Oh, interesting.
He thinks well-placed humor can make your presentation unforgettable.
It's about taking a chance.
Yeah.
Right. Being willing to be a little bit different
Exactly.
and letting your personality shine through.
Because in a world where everyone's trying to blend in,
Mm.
it's the people who dare to be different who really make a lasting impression.
Yeah. Have you seen that in your own field?
Mm-hmm.
Someone who breaks the mold and really stands out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think authenticity is becoming more and more important these days.
Okay.
People are tired of those same old tired presentations and pitches.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see something real, something genuine.
Yeah. And Peters talks about having this, crystal clear understanding of the power of a good story.
Right.
Building a brand that reflects your unique identity and values.
It's all about storytelling.
Storytelling, yeah.
Crafting a narrative that resonates with people on a deeper level.
And Shodin talks about enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah, he's big on
He
it.
said, be enthusiastic about your work. And it will show.
It'll come through in everything you do.
And I think there's a real synergy there.
For sure.
If you're passionate about what you do and you can communicate that passion through a compelling story,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to connect with people in a way that, like, dry facts and figures just can't.
Absolutely. It's about tapping into that emotional connection.
Yeah, and I think that's something we can all apply to our lives,
Totally.
whether we're entrepreneurs, employees, or just trying to make our mark on the world.
It makes you think about how you approach your own work.
Yeah.
Are you bringing enough passion and enthusiasm to the table? Are you telling your story in a way that really resonates with people?
And are you surrounding yourself with the right people?
Oh, yeah, that's important.
People who challenge you, who bring different perspectives.
Peters talks about the importance of hiring people who are smarter than you.
Oh, interesting.
He believes that leaders should be humble enough to acknowledge their limitations and bring in people who can fill those gaps.
That takes courage, doesn't it?
It does. It means being open to new ideas, even if they challenge your own assumptions.
And Chodin, well, he encourages us to be self-aware, to identify our areas for improvement, and to constantly work on honing our skills.
Yeah, he even recommends videotaping your presentations so you can see yourself as your clients do.
Wow, talk about holding up a mirror.
I know, it can be a little intimidating at first, but it's so valuable.
Yeah.
It's all about continuous learning and development.
Right.
Both Peters and Chodin emphasize that in today's world, we need to be constantly updating our skills and knowledge.
Peters even says he wants to close all business schools.
Wow, really?
Because he thinks they're not preparing students for the real world.
He's not afraid to shake things up, is he?
No, he's not. But I think his point is that we need to move beyond those traditional models of education and focus on more experiential, hands-on learning.
Right. Get out there and do it.
Exactly. He wants people to be exposed to those weird and innovative ideas.
Okay.
To be encouraged to experiment and to really develop those creative problem-solving skills.
And Chodin talks about the importance of learning from your mistakes. He encourages us to embrace failure as an opportunity for growth.
He even recommends seeking out feedback.
Even if it's negative.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn and improve.
So they're both advocating for a more dynamic approach to learning.
Yeah.
One that embraces failure as part of the process.
Absolutely. And they both emphasize understanding the changing needs of the market.
Right. We can't just assume that what worked in the past will continue to work in the future.
Exactly. We need to stay ahead of the curve.
Anticipate future trends.
And constantly evolve to meet the changing demands of our customers.
Peters talks about this shift from a product-centric to an experience-centric economy.
Oh, interesting.
He uses the example of Harley-Davidson. He says, there is not a single living human being who works for Harley-Davidson who is stupid enough to think that they make motorcycles.
What do you think he means by that?
Well, I think he's saying Harley-Davidson isn't just selling motorcycles. They're selling a lifestyle.
An experience.
An experience.
Yeah.
A dream.
People aren't just buying products anymore.
Right.
They're buying emotions, connections, experiences.
And Chodin reinforces this idea when he talks about crafting a persuasive case. You need to go beyond just listing features and benefits.
Right.
And really paint a picture for your clients.
Show them how your product or service can solve their problems and improve their lives.
It's all about creating a compelling narrative.
That resonates with their emotions.
And motivates them to take action.
Exactly. So much of this comes down to understanding your audience, whether it's your clients, your colleagues, even your competitors.
You need to know what makes them tick.
What their aspirations are.
What challenges they're facing.
And that brings us to another important point that both Peters and Chodin touch upon.
Okay.
The changing demographics of the market.
Yeah, they both highlight the rising influence of women and baby boomers.
Peters even says that women are the most underreported business story in the nation.
Wow.
He points out that women are starting businesses at a rate that exceeds men by a factor of 7.
Really?
And that women-owned businesses are generating trillions of dollars in revenue.
That's incredible.
It is. And it's a reminder that businesses need to move beyond those traditional marketing strategies.
Right.
And focus on building genuine connections with female consumers.
And Chodin emphasizes understanding the unique needs and preferences of female consumers.
He argues that women do not buy brands, they join them.
So it's not just about selling to women.
It's about creating a community, a sense of belonging.
And the same goes for baby boomers, who represent a significant portion of the market.
With substantial purchasing power.
But often get overlooked.
Both Peters and Chodin argue that businesses are missing out on a huge opportunity by not catering to the needs and interests of this demographic.
So they need to rethink their products, their services, their marketing strategies.
To appeal to this growing market.
It seems like they're both advocating for a more nuanced, sophisticated approach to marketing.
Yeah, one that takes into account the unique needs and aspirations of different demographic groups.
And beyond demographics, it's about understanding the broader societal trends that are shaping the way people live and work and consume.
Absolutely.
Peters talks about the increasing importance of creativity and innovation in today's economy.
Right. We need to foster a culture of creativity and experimentation to stay ahead of the curve.
And Shadeen emphasizes the need for professionals to develop their storytelling skills
To communicate their ideas effectively.
and persuade their audiences.
Exactly. So what does all this mean for our listener?
Yeah, how can they take these insights and apply them to their own lives and careers?
That's a great question. Let's explore that in our final section.
It's like Peters and Shadeen have given us this toolkit.
A toolkit.
Yeah, for navigating this new world.
I like that.
They're giving us all this practical advice, but they're also kind of challenging us to rethink, like, what success even means.
Right. It's not just about climbing the corporate ladder anymore or making a ton of money.
It's about creating something meaningful, something that makes a difference.
Exactly.
So let's get practical. What are some takeaways our listener can start applying, like, right now?
Well, I think the first one is to really embrace this idea of rewiring.
Rewiring.
Yeah, just like technology needs updates, so do we.
Oh.
Our skills, our mindsets, our networks, all of it.
Peters is a huge advocate for lifelong learning.
Oh, yeah. He even joked about closing down all the business schools.
He did, didn't he?
Because they're stuck teaching outdated models.
Right. So it's about seeking out new knowledge, new experiences,
Yeah.
even if they seem a little weird.
A little unconventional. Yeah.
And that actually connects with what Shadeen was saying about being a pleasant surprise. He was talking about presentations.
Yeah.
But I think it applies to your whole career.
I agree.
Don't be afraid to stand out. Be bold. Bring something unique to the table.
Like Shadeen did with his client who loved bass fishing.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Landed the deal and got a fishing trip out of it.
Talk about going above and beyond.
Right.
That story really highlights the power of human connection,
Yeah.
In a world that's becoming more and more automated and impersonal, those genuine relationships can really set you apart.
It's not just what you know, but who you know.
And how you connect with them.
And that brings us back to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Peters talks about seeing your team as the Oakland Raiders of housekeeping,
Okay.
recognizing their potential.
Inspiring them.
Yeah, what do you think about that analogy?
I think it's spot on. He's saying that even in the most ordinary roles, there's potential for greatness.
Right.
It's about empowering your team,
Giving them ownership.
celebrating their unique talents.
And Shadeen, he stresses the power of storytelling in those presentations,
Oh, absolutely.
He says dry facts just aren't enough. You got to capture their attention.
Make them feel something.
Yeah, turn information into a story.
A narrative.
A narrative, yeah.
Yeah.
That inspires action.
Both speakers seem to be pushing us to be more human,
More empathetic.
more connected.
And there's this interesting paradox here,
What's that?
As technology advances,
Mm-hmm.
as automation takes over routine tasks,
Yeah.
those uniquely human skills,
Like creativity, empathy, communication.
they become even more valuable.
It's true.
So it's like we're being called to step up our game as humans
The machines might be getting smarter, but we still have the power to dream
to connect.
and to make a difference.
And speaking of making a difference, both Peters and Shadeen talk about this shift in power toward women and baby boomers.
Two markets that are often overlooked.
Peters calls women the most underreported business story in the nation,
He points out that they're starting businesses at an incredible rate,
generating trillions of dollars in revenue.
and yet they're often ignored by companies stuck in those old ways of thinking.
The same goes for baby boomers,
So much experience, so much spending power.
but often overlooked.
It's a wake-up call to businesses.
Adapt or become irrelevant.
And for our listener, it's an opportunity. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, or just a consumer, you can tap into these markets and make a real difference.
So how do we do it? How do we reimagine success on our own terms?
I think it comes down to this. Embrace change, be bold, and dare to be different.
Don't settle for business as usual.
Push boundaries, experiment, forge your own path.
Peters even encourages us to take a swan dive into the unknown.
It might be scary, but it's in those uncharted waters that we often discover our greatest potential.
And remember, it's not just about personal gain.
It's about contributing to a more creative, human-centered, and successful world.
So there you have it. We've unpacked some powerful ideas today about leadership, about innovation and what really means to thrive in this ever-changing world.
Absolutely.
We hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought.
And maybe inspired you to reimagine your own definition of success.
Thanks for joining us.